In 1779, the spinning mule revolutionized the textile or clothing industry, allowing workers to spin over 1,000 spindles of yarn at once. The invention of the spinning mule allowed for the mass production of high-quality clothing, but the man who invented the mule was never properly rewarded. Samuel Compton was born on December 3, 1753, to a poor family in England. By 10, Compton had learned to weave on a loom, and at 15, he was working in a wood mill. This early experience in the textile industry would contribute greatly to his future invention. In 1774, Compton came up with the idea of the spinning mule, a device that would greatly improve the efficiency of the textile industry. He started working on his invention in his spare time, and it took him 5 years to finish, with money being a problem the entire time. He later wrote that he succeeded in the perfection of his invention at the expense of every shilling I had in the world. In 1779, Compton revealed his invention. He called it a mule because it combined features of two existing machines, the moving carriages of Hargreaves' spinning jenny and rollers of Arkwright's water frame. His invention revolutionized the textile industry, and now workers could spin thread with crazy efficiency. But because Compton had spent all his money on perfecting the invention, he now had no money to patent it. Because Compton had no patent, his invention didn't bring in the cash he deserved. Instead, he was met with legal troubles, and he had to make a decision between destroying his machine or continuing to sell yarn. He chose to keep selling yarn after manufacturers promised to pay him for using the mule and speeding up their production. In total, he received about £60 for his revolutionary invention. By 1812, there were around 4 to 5 million mules being used across England, but Compton received no financial compensation. He stayed poor his entire life, despite being the man that helped clothing manufacturers greatly increase their profits. Parliament awarded him £5,000 in 1812, but this didn't make up for all the money he missed out on the past 30 years. The concept of the spinning mule was used to increase efficiency in the clothing industry until the 1980s, long after Compton's death in 1827. Compton is remembered as one of the key figures of England's late 18th century industrial revolution, but he was arguably the least rewarded out of all the pioneers during that time. His story should remind you that life's not fair, and you don't always get the credit you deserve. But more importantly, it should remind you to never introduce a groundbreaking invention to the market without patenting it first.